with the euro versus the dollar. Then we're going to take a look at GBP/USD, dollar yen, and then gold, crude oil, and stock markets. It's a bit quiet today, but crude is down with 64 basis points, and the pound is up a bit as well as the Aussie dollar. Otherwise, where it's not really that quiet, it's actually cryptos. We're seeing a slide in 3.4% in Bitcoin, but you're also seeing some more significant slides in the altcoins, and sort of you got things like EOS, which is down with 5%, Cardano as well, which is down with about 5%. So we're seeing a bit of movement there. They had a very good weekend, and effectively back at levels we saw on Friday, almost in the crypto space. We're going to talk a bit about that as well. Now, if you're new to this, my name is Alejandro Zambrano. I want to welcome you guys, and I've been looking at the market since 2005. That's when I started in the forex industry, and I've been trading my own account since 2006. And I've been an analyst professionally since 2009. So hopefully I can help you a bit navigating the markets. All right, so let's begin. We're going to begin with the euro. So the euro here, a few weeks ago actually, we said sell here because we have a head and shoulders, and we can go down to 109.22. We went down to the first space, and I said down here, take profit because we're just above support. The market went all the way up to the upside, and then it went down again. Now, I do think it can continue to trade lower over the next few days, and I will continue to be bearish as long as we trade below 110.22. Then we can go up, then we can go down, and I do think we can probably go lower. It would not surprise me if we revisit the 2019 low. That's exactly what the Aussie dollar did, and now it's bouncing a bit. But this is also quite interesting. Make that the left shoulder, make this the right shoulder, and keep that as the head, and you suddenly have a much more aggressive head and shoulders, which triggered last week, and that has a target of 107.37, and this is also in line with my Q1 report, which I published. We wrote this in December. I'm quite bearish on the Aussie, on the euro. We also had an outlook for the GBP, but that was just ahead of the referendum, so I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen. And then you had also something on the dollar yen, so you can check all of that out, and it's all for free, even though it's something that actually well, it worked out really good this time around. We don't always get it right, but the key point is this though, is that when you win big. When you lose small, and this is a good example of how it is to win big. If you check that out, if you look at how the charts were looking at, and then how they actually ended up. So we're going to continue here now. The next market is going to be GBP versus the USD. So this one it has always been difficult to trade. It's just the way it is. If you don't have to trade it, don't trade it. I try to avoid it. But this is quite a good pattern, and hopefully this time around it will actually work out. Last time we looked at this, we're dealing with a triangle pattern with a break here or so. I think I draw it like that, but that triangle pattern failed. And in the more mature markets, they tend to fail. In something more new like cryptos, they can work, but I still avoid triangles most of the time, but I do present them because I do know people are interested in them, and when they do work out, you can use their patterns as price targets in combination with some other stuff. This is far simpler though. You got yourself, this is actually the break here, low, low, low. So you got 3 lows at the same spot, technically 4 lows. So you got yourself a double top. So this qualifies like a rectangle. We had the break here already last week, as you can sell here, but ahead of the known from payrolls. If you didn't want to sell, then that makes sense. But I said on a break to the low here, then that would make perfect sense to sell, especially as the known from payrolls numbers were good. And then there was some comments that the EU wants to move euro clearing, so clearing of euro products back to Europe and away from London. All right, this is, if that would happen, which probably will happen, it will. I mean, that's why a lot of the big investment banks and banks have already set up operations in Europe, just because if they would, which makes perfect sense, like if because what's happening so far, as explained many times before here in this show, and that is that before you could have like my friend, was part of the Dutch team, right? So they have the Dutch team, they're like 5, 6 people, they just manage Dutch business, and that's also Euro. That's obviously Euro business, right? Uh, and there's talking about large amount of money. Now this is now being shifted back to their countries, uh, and that would again cause, further. I mean, it's going to be difficult because effectively we'll clear pound trades and probably clear a lot of dollar stuff as we still do, but the euro stuff could be pushed back because what's happening here is that there was too much clearing going on in here compared with Europe. I guess that's why they don't like it, and they want to have control. They want to know who's actually clearing and working with these products, and that was another reason for this sliding to the downside. Long story short, though, the market slid below support, triggered that sells, and now we're going upwards again. But if we do revisit this little spot here around 29.43, 29.50, I think people will sell. And I don't know if you noticed, but the stop loss was here. It's now been reduced, and it's now here at 30.22. And as long as you're below that level, it's going to be a bearish trend. It might go up, but I think eventually lower. Dollar yen. So the dollar yen, bounced nicely on the coronavirus spread slowing down, effectively hit a bottom, and then as the numbers off there about the growth of the coronavirus slow down, not people-wise, but percentage-wise, we saw the market go upwards. I haven't looked at actually the growth rate of the coronavirus. Let's do that. I think it was like 10% just a few days ago, but let's take a look here. The change from the 9th of, so on the 9th of February, we're at 39.8. And the day before, we were at 36.8. The growth rate is 8%, which is a significant slowdown in growth. And that is something that the market took advantage of or saw as the turning point of the this season. At that point, the market bounced. We're starting to see news as well. I think Samsung is opening up factories, and there's other factories in China as well that are opening up, because what's happening is that when people were hiding, which makes perfect sense, they're not hiding, but they were in quarantine and protect themselves against this virus, there was not a lot of production, and that is now coming back online now. It's probably going to take some time more. I read that they delayed the school start to March 1st, so the kids are going to be home for another few more weeks, 3 weeks or so, before they can go back to school again. So it's not all clear yet, and this will continue to disrupt, I think, business worldwide. And I actually created a special video on this, which is this one up here. And you, as long as you're a member of Investing Cube, you can actually check that out. It's free. If you sign in like I am, you just go down and you click the button and it goes live. It's very straightforward. Let's move along here. Anyway, technically here, the price has already happened, because what happens here is that it bounces when people were as most scared and things will look their most ugly to some extent. And now if it goes down from these levels, I think people can maybe potentially be buying again. Take a look now at gold. So this is gold. So I'm still waiting for the price to revisit this level. We reached this level, then we bounced up a bit. We're trading here at 15.55, and I said if we go down, I think probably people are going to buy, but the market decided to jump higher without waiting. So it jumped higher, and I'm treating this like some sort of a rectangle. It's definitely like a double top. So if we do take out 15.93, then I'll turn bullish again. But for now, I think this can probably go up a bit more. And if we do go down, then I want to be looking to getting involved down here. Crude oil prices, so they're down with 58 basis points today. So definitely under pressure. The close of that weekly candle that I talked about quite a lot last week, they didn't necessarily materialize as much as good as I wanted. So this is that trend funding level at 50.54. If I hide everything here, you can see this is the candle of last week, and it didn't turn into a proper proper reversal candle. It didn't turn into, let me see if I can find one here. This is like a bearish one where the market was up here and then closed the week negatively. It wasn't like that here. Here's one where the market is down all the way down here, then rallies all the way up to the high and turns bullish. That's your indication that this was a move, and that we're gonna go upwards. I still think, though, realistically, that this is probably still a false breakout. They have some new stuff that come to light, though, and that is that, as I mentioned last week, that some Chinese producers of energy are declining to receive sort of their monthly sort of liquefied gas and crude oil, and there's a lot of talk and buzz that this is going to continue to influence for the next few weeks, and that is putting pressure, because then you have all these big energy companies, and suddenly these guys don't want to take delivery, and where are they going to store it? Might be better just to sell it on the market, and that could depress prices a bit. And I think natural gas did slide. This is natural gas, and it's trading very close to the January 20th low. This level here, and if we trade below that, which we're almost at that level, I think we are gonna slide. So that can influence crude oil prices. But for now, I'm gonna stick with the view that this was a false move, and as long as trade about 48.93, I'm gonna remain bullish. The alternative is you can wait for today and you see how this candle closes, and then we can see. And if you're really cautious, if you really want to wait for a proper trend reversal, when that level is 52.15, as you can see, the price is creating lower and lower highs. And at one point we actually stopped creating lower highs here, and that's when I turned bullish. But this then resumed, because sometimes you're gonna get these when the trend is too strong like that, you get something like this. Let me show you. So sometimes what happens is that you have a downtrend and the market goes like that, and then like that, and then it goes really aggressive, and it goes like that, and then it will snap and end this little downtrend here, but it doesn't mean that it can't continue this longer term trend, which has these in lows. And that's where we are now. We ended that, and we're pretty much here somewhere, as you can see. German DAX is quite straightforward. We moved all the way up to the other side of the range, and you remember when we were down here, I said if you're really bullish, this is the time to buy. Well, we're now on the other side of the range, and if you're really bearish, then this is time to sell. However, though, selling against stock market is usually a bad idea. They usually does not work out. Stock markets turn bearish once in a while, but most of the time they turn upwards. Like, I remember old data I read many years ago, at least 10 years ago, and it said like 70% of all years end with some positive return. Well, after nowadays, when you got central banks, supporting the markets at, every slide, I think that's probably dropped to even, worse. I think you have almost no losing years. So, yeah, this is supposed to be 12 month. So this would be yearly. So here from 2003, you had 1, 2, 3. You got 3 bad years from 2003. So you can do this yourself afterwards, but the likelihood of having a bearish year is really low. Doesn't mean, of course, you can't short and make a few pips selling here for it to come down, but normally it's better just to wait and buy dips, really. So we're looking at this today. When I look at this, I still see a range, and I don't think we're going to go all the way down, but if we do go all the way down to these levels, then that could be something. Potentially we can do something like that. The most likely scenario, which I think is going to happen, is that this market, as explained last week, so I'm not going to bore you too much, but as I explained last week, and that is that, let me see here, this market goes down and then goes up, and then whatever that is, I don't think it's initially going to soar, by the way. I think it's going to go up and do like that. It's just going to be much like this episode here. So that's what I'm waiting for. Um, S&P. S&P last week we went into the buy spot. Looking at the candles today, they still look quite heavy, so I think we can go down again. I think we can revisit this buy spot again. As long as you trade, let me clean this up. As long as you trade above these levels here and the trend of funding level at 32.76, then I'm going to remain bullish. If we slide below, it's not necessarily going to end the big picture trend because that trend of funding level is down here. But if we're going to wait for that big slide, which happens once in a while, I mean, you can just see in your charts, we went up and up and up and up and up, and then the whole thing collapsed, and then went up and up and up, and the whole thing moved down. So we might be in some situation like this, but for now, I'm assuming it's just a shallow one like we had in the past. Okay, let's see if you guys have any questions. We got True Invention. Good morning to you, sir. And we have Main West. Good morning. Haven't seen you for a while. And then we have Marvin as well. Good morning to you. Hope you had a good weekend. So we've got a question. How about GBP CAD or Aussie dollar CAD? Aussie dollar CAD, I think it's a bit tricky. Let's look at GBP CAD and see if there's anything there. Yeah, this is GBP CAD, and this is your 6-hour chart. Let's just look at the daily because I haven't looked at this one for some time. I remember, no, I don't. This was not the one. All right, so it doesn't have a very strong trend because we've been at the same level since January 20th, as you can see here. You can see in the bottom here section. So we don't have a particularly strong trend. You do have a bit of support here at 71. And I guess we can go a little bit lower here, but there's not a lot of happening here. So it's very difficult to deal with these markets. You're gonna have a false move and then it just goes back up again. We're probably gonna be around the same levels in the next few days as well. So got a question about pound yen. Okay, so this is the pound yen. And pound yen, oh wow, I missed this one. I'm gonna add this one to my list. So this is much like GBP USD, right? So it's settled into a range, and the market is supporting the price at these levels. And if we do take out something like 140.82, then this could potentially be trading down to its target down here at 136.87. I say down here because we're closer to support. But this market, as long as you're above here, can actually go upwards and then go up. But as you probably saw with the GBP USD also already breaking down from its rectangle, you know, if pound yen falls through, then that would not surprise me. In fact, I encourage you guys to check out more yen pairs because it's not just in pound yen that the yen looks to gain. It's actually very close against other currency pairs as well, but not the dollar, where it looks like it can turn bullish. So I'm finding that interesting, and that could be something. It might tell us that, you know, things are maybe turning worse. We might see a few days slide. So maybe something is going to flare up, or people suddenly start to sell stock markets. I'm not really sure exactly, but keep an eye on. I encourage you guys to investigate some other more yen pairs. Okay, so we got a final question here about Euro Norwegian kroner, and okay, so this is Euro Norwegian kroner. Norwegian kroner was suffering a lot. It was in a big, it was weakening quite substantially. Now this market, when they look like this, is difficult to use traditional analysis. I think it's better to use pitchforks. See if I have Euro Norwegian kroner here. And I do. This is Euro Norwegian kroner, and this is a channel that I constructed. I used this high here from December 2018, and then the low here from October 2018. So this channel is done okay. It hasn't done an amazing. This is some old analysis here. It's done an okay job. It's not amazing. There's a similar channel with dollar Norwegian kroner. Now, the general idea with these channels is that you try to buy around these levels. So you had these signals, and then you have these signals to sell. You can also put the RSI here. You can see we're very close. I mean, overbought, overbought, overbought. So you can use that in conjunctions. So when I'm looking at this, we're dealing with an uptrend, but it does look like, you know, if I would to do anything with this one, I would try to buy it, but I would like to buy it at the blue line or the green line here. So effectively, it might start to roll over. It might do something like this, but it can easily take some time. Last time we went up, it took, I mean, we hit the target. I mean, from that perspective, it was perfect. Like we hit this level, and then 66 days later, so this was in October, say November, then we hit the target in January. So you guys on 2 months there. And this could also, I think this can easily, because it spent quite a lot of time up here. So spend 60 days here as well. It reached this in, sorry, that's correct, yeah, in October 15th, and then it was first in mid-December that it started to go lower. So you can probably spend a lot of time here. As a bonus chart, I have dollar Norwegian kroner, and here I have a channel, and this channel was perfect. Indicated perfectly on January 2nd that this market was going to bounce, and then went all the way up. Now we are very close to this level. So when this, as you can see, is close to its green level, which is, well, this green upper level, which is at 934. From there, one could potentially turn bearish. And if that at the same time, if you're on Norwegian kroner is around, I guess ideally it will be at 1026, and that could be something. But if in the best of worlds, it's actually up here at 1034. But it's difficult to get all of this right. Okay, before we finish, let me just talk a bit about cryptos. So we talked about Bitcoin, and the last very good idea I shared with you guys was this one here. And then the market decided to go upwards. I mean, we talked about the break here and going upwards, so still we can go much higher. And then I pulled flip from here to here, and I was hoping for this to go lower, but it did not. Now this becomes the new trend defining level for the short term, or for like a multi-day. And then we take flip from here to the high. You can see that we went back to the first fib, and last time it bounced from the first fib. And I think it can go down maybe a bit more to 96.25. So from this 50% level, that's probably the spot. I might be wrong. It might be that it's going to stabilize here, and I hope so. Personally, I hope so, because I'm actually long since a while, not in Bitcoin, but in other stuff. And what I'm doing is that I hope to book profits in all the other positions when Bitcoin is here. But you can, there's no very good rules here, but you see it's trying to do a little double bottom at the first flip. So if you were bullish, then this is the spot to look like, and you can probably work with something like a stop at the 94.93. I'm not saying you should do it, but that's what I think people are gonna do that are very bullish. If you want to give this a bit more time and think you can go down a little bit more, then you're looking at your 50 level. So that's 9,600, and then from here it might slide a little bit lower, but should effectively bottom out. And when is the time to turn really bearish on this market? Well, it's time to turn bearish on a break to 9,046. And when we're up here, it's also going to be interesting, because if we are here, if we actually reach 11,680, it's going to be really interesting, because if we do take out this trend line, then we're going to break out of this triangle, and that gives us a target of another 100% to the upside, and that would truly be amazing, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Okay, good. I think we're going to wrap things up. So we have Tato from South Africa. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. All right, we're going to wrap things up, guys. I hope you're having a good day so far. I hope if you're in England that the wind didn't cause too much troubles for you. I know as well in Scandinavia it's a bit rough. My parents was actually visiting here and they canceled their flight, so I had to take it this morning. So I know it hasn't been easy for everyone, and I hope you guys didn't get in too much trouble. All right, we're going to wrap things up. I want to see you guys tomorrow here around the same time, around 9:30 to 9:45. We do this market update. The best thing is that you actually subscribe. So when you subscribe to us, to the channel, you can also put that little bell button, and that bell button gives you notifications like these ones, and it tells you this person just went live, and then you don't waste minutes waiting for me. You just get your notification, then you're live. The other thing as well is that I am on Twitter on AlexFX, and I will like 99% of the time send a message when I'm gonna go live. Just I send a message, and then 4 or 5 minutes afterwards I'm online. If not directly when I send that message. So that's the other thing. If you want to follow me on Twitter, then there you go. That's AlexFX00. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow around the same time here on investingcube.com and also on the ATFX channel. Thanks so much, and bye-bye. See you.